Hi, everybody. Good morning. Today we'll be starting our second story of the week, Joseph's Castle in the Sky. We'll be completing our usual opening do now warm-up routine. We'll be completing a before reading activity where we use vocabulary words from a word bank to complete sentences, fill in the blank sentences. Today's purpose, today we are going to begin a story about someone making a return to his birth country. Let's read to see which words and phrases reveal Joseph's emotions. Once again, we have the same academic vocabulary words for this week, humility and strength. Now, there's an audio recording of the text for students to listen to, as well as a link to a modified version of the text. Clicking this link will open up a PDF, and this contains the first half of the text, which students will focus on today. It's edited with numbered paragraphs, as well as guided reading questions for students to answer while they are reading. In addition, there's discussion questions for students to complete after they have completed today's reading for the day. In addition, there's an additional after the reading activity where students will answer questions based on the text, but not only answer questions, focus on the strategies they're using to answer those questions. So is it something directly stated in the text? Is it something that connects to their own experiences? Or is it something that they have to kind of draw an inference by looking at multiple pieces from the text? So it's not only important for students to be able to answer the questions, but it's also important for students to understand how to approach different question styles and how they are going about answering those questions. So this Google document can be continued and will contain the questions and activities for this day's assignment as well, and this helps students keep their work very organized and easily accessible. Finally, there's a number of closing and connecting activities. There's a check for understanding, an agree or disagree question that asks students to find evidence from the text to support their response. Students could draw connections to the text by sharing about an important landmark from their culture. They could write a message to Joseph, and they could even extend their learning by gaining some additional background information about what was called the Haitian Revolution. Now, the landmark Joseph visits is historically connected to the Haitian Revolution. And many of our students who are Haitian will have a significant background on this topic because this topic is thoroughly taught in schools in Haiti. Now let's jump right into today's lesson. Can somebody please read today's essential question? Good. How can sharing our stories make us stronger? Can somebody please read today's 2 lesson objectives? Good. To make logical inferences from the close reading of a text? Good. We're going to be making inferences, not just seeing what the text says explicitly and directly, but also what's implied in the text and what conclusions we can draw from the text. We're also going to be using context clues, collaboration, and resources to analyze words and phrases. Let's take a look at our opening do now activity. Let's look at these images. What do you see? What do you think? What do you wonder? Students can also use these sentence starters to help them. You can pause this video now and give your students a chance to respond to these images. Some students may say, in the image, I see a street with a lot of people. I think that people put some of their things on top of the bus. One thing I wonder is what the flag represents. Now, this is a before reading activity. It may be helpful to review these vocabulary words with the students, and then students could fill in these words into the blanks to gain some context of what happens in the story, as well as to build their vocabulary as well. Now, here's a link to an audio recording of the text, as well as a link to today's portion of the text. Students should respond to the guided questions included in the text as they are reading in order to ensure they are understanding and following along with the story. The discussion questions students can answer after reading today's portion of the text. This can be done in pairs or independently or as a whole class as well. So there's a number of strategies to use with these discussion questions, and I think it's important to give students a chance to share out and to have a discussion and to build on each other's responses. So after the reading, there's a question relationship answer activity where students will answer some additional questions as well as note the strategies they're using to answer those questions. Finally, there's a number of closing and connecting activities. There's a prompt. Joseph has been to Haiti before, to check for understanding. There's a question asking students to make connections, to share about a landmark from their own home country that's important to their culture. They could write Joseph a message about his experiences and what they would like to ask him, as well as to gain some additional knowledge about the Haitian Revolution. Now, this will include a link to a Wikipedia page where students could gain some background information about this significant conflict in order to have a better understanding of the particular landmark that Joseph visits in the story, which we'll continue to read about in tomorrow's portion of the text. So at this time, you could jump into the before reading activity, and I hope you will enjoy today's lesson. Thank you so much. Have a good day.